consultants, campaign staffers,
Uh-oh.
Last month, a group of moderate Democratic consultants, campaign staffers, elected officials, and party leaders gathered in Loudoun County, Virginia for a retreat where they plotted their party's comeback. We got their takeaways. Those gathered then laid out 20 solutions where Democrats can regain working class trust and reconnect with them culturally. 1. The party should embrace patriotism, community, and traditional American imagery. 2. Democrats should ban far left candidates.
Okay, the entire Kamala Harris campaign did this. Patriotism, community, traditional American imagery. That's why they nominated Tim Walz to be the stereotypical, like the stereotype for the good, positive masculine man.
Questionnaires and refuse to participate in forums that create ideological purity tests, and move away from the dominance of small dollar donors whose preferences may not align with the broader electorate. They should
move away from small dollar donors. Since when was there a dominance of small dollar donors? The entire Kamala campaign was consultant focused. And the ideological purity test, from someone who knows a lot about these fields, that comes from the liberals. That comes from the centrists and the party that want to profit off of these issues. It's not the far left doing the purity test when it comes to the corporate environments, when it comes to who's getting nominated. It's really not the far left, other than Twitter, doing any of that. And that's not even a real political force.
Push back against far-left staffers and groups that exert a disproportionate influence on policy and message.
Again, the staffers I know that are super cringe are not exactly far left. If you're talking like communist, then sure, but they don't have any positions in the party. They're not staffers in these campaigns. If anything, like AOC probably has more quote-unquote far-left staffers, but her messaging is far more effective than Hakeem Jeffries, who's the ultimate centrist. So like that, it just doesn't make any coherent sense with the reality. We just ran this campaign.
Messaging. Candidates should get out of elite circles and into real communities, e.g. tailgates, gun shows, local restaurants, churches, and...
Okay, that's a given, but you should nominate someone like I don't know, like a Wes Moore if that's your argument. But it needs to be authentic. It's not just like take a Democrat and put them out into the field like, oh, go talk to someone at the tailgate or the gun show and go to the local restaurant. Like, it does not work if it's not genuine. So it's so focus grouped. It's so consultant based.
The party needs to own the failures of democratic governance in large cities and commit to improving local government. Holy, please.
The failures of democratic governance in large cities. Which failures are they going to own? Are they going to say they used to be for defunding the police, but now they're not anymore? Like, is that going to be what they do?
God, yes. So it's just a random group of no power downs? Oh, it seems like a think tank or whatever. Who knows if it'll manifest in anything, but... Last month, a group of moderate democratic consultants
Yeah, that's not based at all. It's not really anything different at all, to be frank. Like, the Kamala Harris campaign did not have far left people on it. They followed every guideline here. They followed every single guideline. Every guideline here they followed. Like, to a T. Embracing patriotism, community, and traditional American imagery. The American flag. Freedom, 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 freedom. Ban far left candidate questionnaires. Candidate questionnaires. Which is far left? Because the DNC just chose their leadership. And again, the consultant class does the cringy stuff. When you think about cringe purity testing when it comes to, land acknowledgements being 24/7 things, or, telling people your pronoun every 2 seconds, that is a centrist consultant group thing. There's agencies that make money off of doing DEI trainings and like diversity trainings and microaggression trainings. Those are not like far left. That's not a Bernie Sanders thing. That's not what that is. It's a completely different thing people make money off of. Move away from the dominance of small dollar donations, of small dollar donors whose preferences may not align with the broader electorate. I also don't understand that as well, because I don't know which politician is beholden to small dollar donors. So now they're taking positions that don't align with the broader electorate. That is a non-point. That is mute. That's nothing. That makes zero sense at all, bro. The messaging that really resonates comes from the more like Obama-esque, semi-populist, popular messaging. Like, and that's what the small dollar donations or donators usually want to see out of the party. None of this is based on anything that's actually happening. It's so painful. They should push back against... They're advocating to be like a Republican Party, by the way, like a Republican Party that's pro-gay. The extreme centrist party welcoming in Liz Cheney and cultural conservatives, make the ultimate centrist party that also tries to welcome, I guess, some progressive-minded people in. pushing back against far left staffers and groups. Again, far left staffers and groups that exert a disproportionate influence on policy. Why do the far left staffers and groups exert a disproportionate influence on policy and messaging? Again, what do you mean by that? Is it like you're advocating for universal healthcare and higher taxes, or do you mean pronouns and purity testing based on those grounds? Like, I want to hear more about this this new playbook, which is literally the Kamala Harris campaign. Remember, Kamala Harris would not talk about trans issues. She would not say, we're not going back that often. She stopped saying that. She would not say, she would not talk about price gouging that much. She walked that back a decent amount. She would not go against Joe Biden. She stayed away from these far left topics. She would not talk about trans or immigration at all. Like, there was nothing in here that they did not already try. Candidates should get out of elite circles and into real communities. I mean, that's true. Go into real communities. And I like that. I like that a lot. Go into real communities. See why people don't like you. See it face to face, why people don't like you. And when you find out why they don't like you, then, accept it and get better. Grow from it. Learn from it. Sure, go into local areas. Talk to voters directly. Sure. Awesome. Cool. I agree. No shit, Sherlock. The party needs to own the failures of democratic governance in large cities. I want to know which failures are we discussing? Because right now we can't even give a strong rebuke of Eric Adams. And democratic policies in cities are not the reason cities have the issues they have. So what democratic governance on large cities has failed? Or is it just like, I love how all the democratic points are like, we have to say we are so sorry. We have to go away from all the scary stuff. We have to be like super tame, and like we need to just like be more corporate, no more small dollar donations. It's crazy that we're having a conversation about banning small dollar donors. Or at least moving away from small dollar donors before we're having a conversation about moving away from big dollar donors. Like, it's insane. The populist mood of the time. This is not going to work. It's not going to work. I'm sorry. Maybe it'll work because the Republicans are going to crash and burn so bad. It might work, but it's not going to work as a result of it being a good strategy. We need to move away from small dollar donors. We need to take more big money. I mean, that's what Democrats have said. But all the Democratic points are like taking a knee, are kneeling before the fight even happens. Own the failures of democratic governance. Bro, when do you hear a Republican talk about their failures? Talk about the successes. Talk about Republicans in the city that vote against the good policies and pound the good policies through. Have an agenda. And if you don't meet that agenda, blame your opposition for not letting you pass the agenda that would work. Okay, Democrats don't even get to pass the policies they want in these cities because conservative Democrats and Republicans block these policies. Like in LA, there's a lot of policies. There's Republicans and conservative Democrats that try to force their budgets to be in certain areas. It's more complicated. Like, own the failures of democratic governance. It just doesn't make any sense. No one cares about the governance. It's all branding. It's all what people feel. It's winning their hearts over their hearts and then moving their minds. I hate this.